All right, so hey guys, we're still winding down here on the project, chopper project, from earlier this week, working on the brakes. When I was out test driving, making sure that the brakes were working, I noticed that the headlight lens that was in the headlight house. So this is the lens. This is what the lens looks like. They call it a tri-bar. Obvious reasons, the 3 bars, and the housing. So the housing was mounted securely and not moving by any means. I mean, it was really on there tight. But when I messed around with the lens was seemingly loose, just bouncing around. And that didn't seem very good. So after doing some digging, I discovered that behind the lens is there's a ring. There's like a ring in the back that has these like key notches to hold the bulb in alignment. That was loose and RTV'd in place, or silicone sealed in place. So, you know, previous owner or previous hack mechanic apparently lost the outer ring to the headlamp. You can see here there's these threads here. Or ridges, and there's an outer ring that holds the bulb in place. That was missing. Now you didn't really notice it or anything, but the shaking of the headlight is what I noticed. Truth be told, I just ordered a new one from Amazon. They're all generally about this same shape, which is good. Works well for you know, the Big Bear sled. The original mount looks to be, you know, this piece here. It's not compatible with my new light though. So the dilemma is, here's the new light, which is LED, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm not super thrilled with how this looks, but LED is a lot nicer than, you know, the halogen bulb, and draws less power and brighter. But because of how this is, I'm not sure if I mount this correctly using the mount that it came with, will be fine, right? This offset that's in, sorry, too many things. The offset that's in the bracket that's here for the headlight is good enough to push, you know, the light far enough away from the fork. The one that comes with the headlight that I bought is simply this piece, and it will end up with being like this, right? And it's going to cause a clearance problem. So you think, oh, well, no problem, Dave, just use the old mount. Yeah, except there's a thickness difference here of 0.5 millimeter, I would say at most. So, do I try to, if I had my CNC mill, I would probably mill this part down just a little bit so that it would fit. You know, maybe just take, you know, 0.5 mil off of this right here, and we'd be fine. But I don't have that. So, and I'm, you know, it's not, I mean, sure, it's the money, right? But it's the time. The plasma table's still sitting here that I bought last April. It's now March 17th, 2025. This thing I bought April of 2024. And then I also have the CNC bender right there that's half assembled. So I'm way behind. So my next thought is, if you look at the bottom or the bracket on the original headlight, there's actually 2 mounting screws in the bottom, and those mounting screws, you know, hold this part of the bracket to the headlight housing. So question becomes next, I guess, we're going to find out. I'm going to try to disassemble the new light, see if I can get the bracket that's on this side off. It has 2 screw holes. I have no idea if they're the same or the right spacing or size or anything. Let's see if we can get the old bracket, both sides of the old bracket, the side that's here on the bike, right, and the side that's on the headlight, to be compatible, and then still have a working headlight. So that's the crisis. It's Wednesday. Bike show is Saturday. So I'll let you know how this goes. I'll be back in a bit. Alright, so hey guys, here's my update. And I'm not sure what I would even say. Anyway, I did, ironically, get, I had ordered 2 headlights from Amazon. My intention was to see which one fit better and return the other one. I am a Prime member, so I do get to do that. And so the second headlight that I didn't show you was a tri-bar, just like the original. I'll put it up here somewhere. And that one wasn't too expensive. And actually, its mounting bracket, if you will, is the same style as the one that was original to the bike. So it provides adequate clearance. The only problem is, so you say, Dave, well fine, just use that headlight. Yeah, except the bolt size, the threads on that little bracket block thing is metric, M10 instead of whatever the original was. So I have to go and see if I can get a different bolt or figure out what the heck I'm doing. I really do wish I had my mill, you know? All right, hey guys. I had a bit of an epiphany, or so I thought was an epiphany, but it's really just me sort of rewinding and going back to the idea I had before that second light showed up from Amazon. Here's the old housing, right? It's, you know, with the trim ring that's in there, not the trim ring, but that alignment ring in there, the backing ring or whatever. Here's the old housing. I removed the bracket that bolts to it. So, you know, the bracket is sort of 2 pieces, right, so that it can pivot. So this is the old bracket here on the new housing. This is the other part to the old bracket. So the good news is we can actually, you know, piece these 2 together and make this work with the new housing. So I'll tell you, the reason why I sort of walked away from this idea when the second headlight showed up was that this is the light fixture for the LED lights, right? It's, you know, very small compared to the overall housing size, and, you know, it has its own heat fins and whatnot. But when this was mounted inside this light, there was this ring around it that I couldn't figure out what it was actually doing. I couldn't figure out how to get the light out to get access to the bolts down there to take them off. And what it turned out was, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but there's like a little dimple right there and a little dimple right there. Kind of a glare, sorry. On this ring. So 2 locations with a dimple, and I was able to use a couple of picks to actually rotate the entire ring and get it to unthread. This is actually a threaded ring similar to the outer chrome ring that holds the, well, in this case it doesn't hold the light, it's just decorative. But in the case of the very original light, this is the piece that was missing that actually held the bulbs. So we're on the right path. We're on the right track, I think. I have to just make sure I cut these wires appropriately and don't cut them too short. And then it's going to be doing a bunch of soldering, or maybe I'll get some connectors and well, I mean I have them, but I'll use some connectors and some heat shrink and hopefully get that all buttoned up today, because that would be better than tomorrow. Anyway, at least I didn't have to go to Lowe's looking for bolts that would fit the bottom of this secondary bracket piece, or actually this secondary bracket piece. So that's it. That's the plan. Once I get this all back together and on the bike, I'll give you a quick update, make sure everything worked out okay. Fingers crossed. All right, so hey guys, back from an extended test ride. Did a few laps here on the house, decided I was freezing. Here we are in Texas, it's the 18th or so of March, and it's a high of 60-ish, 61 I think I saw. Anyway, in a fleece that was cold. So I did a couple of laps, came back, changed my clothes, hit the road, did a quick lap down to the Lowe's, the local Lowe's area, shopping area, and back. Took that route because it's not side streets, but it's frontage roads, so lots of places to pull off if anything were to happen, because as you know, I have the number of times I've ridden this bike is now I think 4 since November. So here's the deal on the headlight. Got the headlight installed, hooked it all up, and it didn't work at all. Found out that my negative ground wire had come undone. I did, blade connectors, the female and male blade connectors, and those, I didn't realize I had 2 crimper tools, and one that I used when I did my Hummer radio swap worked excellently, perfectly. It made excellent crimps and everything. The wires all stayed together, knock on wood. For some reason I had picked up a different one, and I was doing the same thing that I did with the other, and the crimps were just not holding. So I'm going to throw that crimper in the trash. Both are from Amazon, I believe. I probably can, put those both up here so you know which one's good and which one's bad. What else? Then after I got it working, I determined that even though the red and the yellow wire coming out of the bike matched the red, the yellow wire on the headlight, they're reversed. So low beam was high beam was low beam. I really didn't want to deal with that, but I, in true OCD style, took it all apart again and redid it again. Anyway, I've got this cranked down pretty good. The test ride, I was worried the test ride it was going to move, un-aim itself or misalign itself, but it stayed true, so that was good. I wanted to tell you one other thing. What else was... Okay, hey guys, I'm back. I thought of what it was. So the issue I was having, I love to use shrink wrap. Shrink wrap is, it's so much better than wrapping stuff with electrical tape, right? And of course, it seems like I have every size shrink wrap, but I always use the wrong one that's too large, and it's I don't know. It just works out that way a lot. Anyway, so the 3 wires I wanted to shrink wrap together, right? So if you connect 3 wires of all the same length together, you end up with this big bundle with connectors and shrink wrap, and then when you want to put a shrink over the whole thing, it's kind of like it's kind of like a bulge. It's a snake that ate a rat, right? And you can see where it is. And so it doesn't usually work. And so then your shrink wrap is, in order to get it over the bulge, it fits there, but on the ends it's still loose. So what I did was, on each wire, so take the first wire, I cut it short and made the other wire long, and then the middle 2 are the same, and then did the opposite, made this one short and this one long on the third one. So you kind of have that graduating alignment of the connectors. So that's a good tip, just to try and be able to keep a semi-consistent thickness across all of them, so that your shrink wrap can work well. Anyway, that's it. That wraps up the project for bike show preparation, I think. Put fresh gas in it. It needs to be cleaned, of course. Tomorrow's Friday. I hope to spend tomorrow cleaning it some. I've got a few products I used to love when I did car shows on order. Amazon should drop those off, so it'll keep me busy one more day. And then we're off to the show on Saturday, and I'll let you know how that goes. But for now, that's the end of this project. See you on the next one.